In a small town, there lived a single mom named Emily. She was in her early 30s and had a heart full of dreams, despite facing many challenges. Emily was a loving mother to her 7-year-old daughter, Lily. Every day, she woke up before dawn, ready to tackle the responsibilities of raising Lily on her own. The mornings were often hectic. She would hurry through breakfast, making sure Lily had a nutritious meal to start her day. Emily worked 2 jobs to make ends meet. During the day, she was a waitress at a local diner, where she served coffee and pancakes with a smile. Even on the toughest days and in the evenings, she took on extra work as a cleaner in office buildings. It was exhausting, but Emily never complained. She did what she had to do for her daughter. Each paycheck was carefully budgeted, ensuring that there was enough money for groceries, bills, and little treats for Lily. Despite her busy schedule, Emily always made time for Lily. After school, they would often go to the nearby park. Emily cherished these moments, watching Lily swing high into the sky and laughing together as they played tag. Their bond was unbreakable, filled with love and laughter. However, there were times when Emily felt overwhelmed. The weight of being both mother and provider sometimes made her feel lonely and stressed. She often wished for someone to share the load with, someone who could support them both. Emily's small apartment was filled with love but lacked many luxuries. The walls were painted in soft pastel colors, and there were crayon drawings by Lily hung proudly on the fridge. Toys scattered across the living room floor told stories of their laughter-filled afternoons. Yet, each month brought its own worries. Rent deadlines and utility bills that seemed to rise higher and higher. Emily would lay awake at night, staring at the ceiling, wondering how she would make it through the next month without falling behind. One evening, after a long day of work, Emily sat at the kitchen table with her head in her hands. She felt a wave of sadness wash over her as she thought about the future. What if things never got better? What if she couldn't provide the life that Lily deserved? In that moment of despair, she decided to pour her feelings into a letter. With a pen in hand and a blank piece of paper before her, Emily began to write. She wrote about her dreams for Lily, a life filled with opportunities, laughter, and adventure. She expressed her fears about not being enough and the weight of loneliness that sometimes pressed down on her heart. The letter became more than just words. It was a release of all her hopes and worries. As she finished writing, tears streamed down her cheeks. This letter wasn't meant for anyone special. It was just a way for her to express everything she held inside. With a deep breath, she folded the letter and placed it on the table, hoping that somehow it would help lighten her heart. The next morning, after sending Lily off to school with a wave and a smile, Emily took the letter and slipped it into an envelope. She decided to mail it to an address she had heard about, a charity that supported single parents. She thought maybe someone there would understand her struggles and offer some guidance or support. With the letter sent off into the world, Emily returned to her daily routine. She donned her apron at the diner, serving customers while trying to keep her spirits high. Every time the door swung open, a part of her hoped for something extraordinary to happen, something beyond the ordinary life she had come to know. Days passed slowly but steadily as Emily focused on work and caring for Lily. Each evening ended with bedtime stories and sweet goodnight kisses. Still, a small part of her held on to hope that perhaps her letter would lead to something unexpected. Little did she know that her simple act of writing would set in motion a chain of events that would change their lives forever. Emily continued to juggle her responsibilities, unaware that soon after mailing the letter, someone far removed from her everyday struggles would be touched by her words in ways she could never have imagined. That evening, after sending Lily to bed with a kiss and a promise of a fun day at the park tomorrow, Emily sat down at the kitchen table. The soft light from the overhead lamp bathed the room in a warm glow, creating a cozy atmosphere, but it did little to ease the weight pressing down on her heart. She pulled out the folded letter she had started earlier and took a deep breath, ready to pour her thoughts onto the page. As she picked up the pen, Emily thought about how difficult life had been lately. She wanted to write not just about her struggles but also about her dreams for Lily's future. A future filled with happiness and opportunity. The words flowed from her heart as she began writing. Dear reader, I hope this letter finds you well. My name is Emily, and I am a single mother to a beautiful 7-year-old girl named Lily. Life has been quite challenging for us lately, but through it all, I strive to be the best mom I can be. Every day, I wake up ready to work hard so that Lily can have a brighter future. Sometimes, I feel like I am drowning in worries. How will I pay the bills? Will I ever be able to give my daughter the life she dreams of? These thoughts often keep me awake at night. Yet, despite these challenges, my heart is filled with hopes for our future. I dream of a day when we can go on family vacations. Not just to the park down the street, but to places where we can explore and discover new things together. I want Lily to experience different cultures, see beautiful landscapes, and meet people from all walks of life. It's important for me that she grows up knowing there's a world full of possibilities waiting for her. Education is another dream of mine for Lily that I want her to have. Access to quality schools and learning opportunities that will inspire her. I remember how much joy learning brought me as a child, and I want that same joy for her. If only I could afford to send her to art classes or join sports teams. But more than anything else, I wish for happiness. Pure, unencumbered happiness. For both of us, I want our home to be filled with laughter and love rather than worry and stress. I end these moments where everything feels overwhelming. I try my best to stay positive, because I know that children pick up on their parents' emotions. That I often think about what it would be like for us if things were different. If we had more support or resources available to you as at IT, makes me hopeful that maybe one day someone will recognize our struggles and offer help in some way. This letter is not just an appeal. It's also an expression of my willingness to fight for my daughter's future and to hold on to hope amidst adversity. As she wrote each line, Emily felt tears welling up in her eyes, not from sadness but from relief. This act of writing offered her an outlet for everything she felt inside and allowed her to share her deepest thoughts without fear of judgment. She hoped that whoever read this would understand their struggles and provide support or guidance. After finishing the letter, Emily took a moment before sealing it in an envelope. She stared at it as if it held all of their dreams within its folds. A small piece of hope sent into the universe. The next morning was bright and sunny, offering promise as Emily prepared herself for another long day at work. She sealed the envelope with care before slipping it into her bag. On her way to the diner later that day, she planned to drop it off at the charity's mailbox she had heard about. With each passing hour at work, Emily focused on serving customers with grace and kindness, while carrying the weight of her handwritten hopes tucked safely away in her bag. She did what she always did, smiled through challenges. But now there was a flicker of hope inside her heart. Little did she know that this simple act of vulnerability would catch someone's attention. A person whose life was worlds apart from hers yet connected by shared humanity through those written words. As Emily navigated through another busy shift serving pancakes and coffee, fate was beginning to weave its threads in ways she could never have anticipated. As the days passed after Emily sent her letter, a whirlwind of emotions swirled within her. Each morning began with a glimmer of hope, igniting the small flame in her heart that whispered that maybe something good was on the horizon. Yet, that hope often battled with uncertainty, the nagging fear that her struggles would remain unchanged and that help would never arrive. Emily found herself glancing at the mailbox every time she walked past it, anticipating any sign of a response from the charity she had reached out to. Each time she opened the door to check, her heart raced, filled with both excitement and dread. What if they had read her letter? What if someone understood her plight? But with each empty mailbox visit, doubt crept back. At a tea work, she tried to keep her spirits high while serving customers. The bustle of the diner offered a welcome distraction, but underneath her smiles and small talk lay a current of anxiety. Her thoughts often drifted to the letter. Had anyone even read it? Did it make an impact? In between orders of pancakes and coffee refills, she found herself pondering those questions over and over. One particularly busy day at the diner, while waiting for an order to be ready, Emily caught sight of a mother with her children at a nearby table. The mother laughed as she shared stories about their day. Their warm laughter filled the air like music. For a moment, Emily's heart ached as she thought about her own dreams for Lily. She wanted nothing more than to give Lily joy like that. Unexpected adventures, endless laughter, and memories to cherish. But instead of feeling happy for them, an overwhelming wave of longing flooded through her. Would she ever be able to create a home filled with laughter and happiness? When she returned home each evening to their small apartment, dimly lit but cozy, she would look at Lily's drawings on the fridge. Those Colorful works of art were bursts of joy fixed on the wall, reminders of their shared moments. Nevertheless, some nights were harder than others when Emily's thoughts spiraled into darkness. She'd sit down in front of the TV while Lily played nearby, feeling like a balloon slowly deflating under the pressure of despair. Yet amidst all these worries, there was also an undercurrent of hope circulating through her mind. She remembered why she had written that letter. It was not merely an expression of despair but also a beacon of possibility. Deep down inside, Emily longed for the kind of change that could transform not just their circumstances but their very lives. Each night before bed, she'd tuck Lily in with a story about faraway lands where dreams came true and families lived happily ever after. These stories filled Lily's head with wonder. They allowed Emily to escape into those worlds for just a moment too, and in doing so, Emily realized how important it was for both of them to maintain hope. Even when life felt overwhelming as Lily drifted off to sleep each night, Emily's mind would wander back to what could be. A life where they wouldn't have to worry about affording groceries or rent. With hopes rekindling within her heart slowly but surely illuminated by love for her daughter, she resolved to forge ahead regardless. Days turned into weeks as Emily learned to embrace uncertainty, taking comfort in small victories and precious moments shared with Lily. If nothing else changed, immediately in their lives after sending the letter, Emily found solace in knowing she had done something brave by expressing her dreams aloud. Even when doubt crept back in or fear loomed heavily over her thoughts, there was still that glimmer of possibility shining through like sunlight breaking through dark clouds, the belief that maybe help was on its way or that someone was listening. Then came those 3 fateful days following the letter's dispatch. Emily could only imagine what possibilities lay ahead as she navigated ordinary days filled with extraordinary love for her child. Little did she know that soon enough, those feelings would take shape into something real in ways far beyond anything she had dared hope for before writing that simple letter. A message from one hopeful heart reaching out towards another who might just understand what they need most. In a bustling city not far from Emily's small town, there lived a billionaire named Jonathan Sterling, with tousled, dark hair, piercing blue eyes, and an unmistakable aura of confidence. Jonathan was known not just for his wealth but for his philanthropy. He had risen from humble beginnings. His childhood was spent in a modest apartment with his single mother, working multiple jobs to provide for her family. Jonathan had always admired her resilience and determination, which instilled in him a strong work ethic and a desire to give back. After earning a scholarship to a prestigious university, Jonathan studied business and technology. With relentless hard work and innovation, he founded a tech company that skyrocketed in success, making him astonishingly wealthy by the time he was in his late 20s. Yet, despite his accomplishments, Jonathan felt an emptiness within himself. He yearned for meaningful connections and often reflected on his upbringing when he volunteered at local charities. One day, while attending an event for a foundation focused on helping single parents, he found himself inspired by the stories shared by attendees. Afterward, with newfound motivation to make a difference, he decided to sift through letters sent to the charity. A task that usually fell to other staff members as he leafed through countless messages of hope and desperation from parents seeking assistance. Something caught his eye. One letter stood out among the rest. It was addressed simply, "Dear Reader." Intrigued by its straightforwardness, Jonathan unfolded the letter to read Emily's heartfelt words as he absorbed every line filled with vulnerability and dreams for her daughter. An ache formed in his chest. He could sense the love she had for Lily as well as the struggles she faced daily. Struggles that mirrored those of his own mother years ago. Jonathan leaned forward in his seat as he continued reading about Emily's hopes for family vacations filled with laughter and adventure, the longing for educational opportunities for Lily, and her wish for happiness above all else. The words resonated deeply within him. They echoed feelings he had buried beneath layers of success. For the first time in years, he felt moved on a personal level. With each paragraph he read, Jonathan's heart swelled with empathy. He understood what it meant to fight for a better life, not just for oneself but also for loved ones. As someone who had experienced similar struggles growing up without much support, he couldn't help but feel compelled to act. After finishing Emily's letter, Jonathan sat silently in the dim light of his office. A flicker of an idea ignited within him, a way to make a genuine difference in someone's life who truly needed it. He envisioned reaching out to Emily directly, offering not just financial support but perhaps something more profound, companionship, or shared experience. Fueled by this impulse, Jonathan began brainstorming how he could approach her without overwhelming her or traveling too far outside of what felt comfortable. His heart raced with excitement at the prospect of connecting with someone who shared such relatable dreams. He knew that making contact with Emily would require some planning. He wanted to ensure that she understood his intentions were sincere. After several hours of reflecting on logistics and possible ways to introduce himself gently into her life without imposing too much pressure or expectations on their potential relationship, he started making arrangements as days slipped by after reading Emily's letter, each one bringing him closer to carrying out this plan. Jonathan realized how much courage it would take to step into this new role in another person's life. But the thought of giving hope back to someone like Emily stirred an emotion within him that was long dormant. A sense of purpose grounded not simply in business success but in humanity itself. Little did either of them know that their lives were about to intertwine in ways they could never have imagined. A single mom pouring out her wishes onto paper would soon lead to an unexpected encounter destined to change both their worlds forever. With each passing day since hearing her words shared through ink and paper, fate began stitching together moments meant just for them both. An extraordinary journey waiting patiently on the horizon as Jonathan Sterling sat in his sleek office, surrounded by the luxury and success he had built. The words from Emily's letter echoed in his mind like a haunting melody. It had been 3 days since he first read it, but those heartfelt sentiments had nestled deeply into his heart. The pain and longing embedded in her words resonated with him on a level he hadn't felt in years. Jonathan couldn't shake the image of Emily as he pictured her juggling multiple responsibilities. Rushing from job to job while hoping for a better life for Lily, he recalled his own mother, who worked tirelessly as a waitress, often coming home exhausted but still managing to smile and tell him stories of magic and adventure to distract him from their struggles. His mother always made sure that even during tough times, hope was never out of reach. Reading about Emily's hopes for her daughter reminded Jonathan of that same spark of resilience he admired in his own mother. With each passing day, Jonathan found himself more consumed by thoughts of her. He imagined what it must be like to wake up before dawn, uncertain of what the day would bring or how to make ends meet. He could feel Emily's loneliness seep through the ink on the page. The palpable ache in her words spoke of sleepless nights filled with worries about bills and providing for her child as a billionaire. He had encountered countless individuals from varying walks of life, but Emily's struggles seemed all too familiar. Feeling compelled to know more about her, Jonathan went beyond just reading the letter. He delved into research about single-parent struggles and challenges faced by families living paycheck to paycheck. He learned about programs designed to support single mothers and how organizations work tirelessly to assist those in dire situations. This knowledge only deepened his empathy for Emily. Each fact reinforced the weight of her reality and the significance of the dreams she expressed so passionately in her letter. One evening, driven by an urge he couldn't quite articulate, Jonathan called his assistant into his office. "I want to organize a charity event focused on supporting single parents," he declared. The assistant looked surprised but intrigued as Jonathan elaborated on his vision to create a fundraiser aimed at providing resources and scholarships for families like Emily's. He could already picture the community coming together, and the thought put a smile on his face. After finalizing plans for the event, Jonathan returned to his desk and picked up Emily's letter once more. He hadn't merely intended to help from a distance. No, he felt an inexplicable desire to connect with her personally. He wanted Emily to know that someone understood her struggles and believed in her dreams. Yet, he also understood that jumping directly into her life might overwhelm her, so he thought carefully about how to introduce himself gently. In a moment of inspiration, Jonathan decided to write a reply, a letter crafted not just as a formal response but as an extension of empathy and encouragement. He poured his own experiences into the message, sharing snippets of his childhood and reminding Emily that she wasn't alone in her journey. He spoke of resilience and hope, encouraging her to continue dreaming big for herself and Lily. "Dear Emily," he began, "your letter moved me deeply. I want you to know that I see you, hear you, and understand the weight you carry." As he wrote, Jonathan felt an undeniable connection forming between them, a bond between two souls striving for something more against the backdrop of life's challenges. He ended the letter with an invitation not simply for help, but to join him at the upcoming charity event he was organizing in her honor, hoping it would empower both her and others who shared similar struggles. After sealing the letter with care, Jonathan took a moment to close his eyes and imagine how Emily would respond upon reading it. Would she feel supported? Would she find comfort in knowing someone cared enough to reach out? As Jonathan pondered these questions, he was filled with anticipation mixed with nervousness. It was one thing to offer financial assistance. It was another entirely to connect emotionally with someone whose life story paralleled his own in many ways. He hoped that their budding relationship would blossom into something meaningful, something that transcended mere charitable acts and turned into genuine friendship. Little did they both know that this heartfelt connection was only the beginning. Their lives were about to intertwine in ways neither had predicted. Jonathan's commitment to making a difference was becoming more than just an act of kindness. It was setting the stage for a transformative journey that could change both their destinies forever. As the days passed after Jonathan sent his letter to Emily, anticipation filled the air, intertwining with a sense of purpose that he had not felt in a long time. He found himself checking his phone more than usual, hoping that Emily would reach out or respond to his message. Each ping echoed like music, yet none brought the news he truly desired. Instead, he was left with a sense of eagerness mixed with a bit of anxiety about their future interactions. Jonathan knew that bringing Emily into his world wouldn't be as simple as just responding to her letter or arranging for her to attend the charity event. The issues she faced were complex and deeply personal. He wanted her to feel comfortable and assured that he genuinely cared and understood her struggles. It wouldn't be fair to push himself into her life without first establishing trust. After pondering for several sleepless nights, Jonathan made an important decision. He would meet Emily in person before the charity event. It wasn't enough for him to simply facilitate change from a distance. He felt compelled to connect with her face to face. He imagined walking into a cozy cafe where they could share their stories over steaming cups of coffee. Just two people opening up about their lives and challenges. With newfound determination, Jonathan contacted the charity that had received Emily's letter, explaining that he wished to arrange a meeting without disclosing too much detail about his wealth or background initially. He wanted Emily to see him as just a person who genuinely cared rather than as a billionaire, someone who might intimidate her or make her feel pressured. The charity staff was more than willing to assist him and promptly agreed to facilitate the connection between them during one of their upcoming outreach events at the local community center. This event, aimed at supporting single parents, would provide an ideal setting for Jonathan's initial contact. It wouldn't just be about handing Emily financial support. It would allow them both to engage in conversations with other families facing similar challenges. On the designated day of the event, Jonathan arrived early at the community center, feeling a mix of nerves and excitement in equal measure. As he walked through the bustling room filled with families and children's laughter, Jonathan reflected on what motivated him to take this leap. Seeing all these families interacting reinforced his belief in the importance of community support, the very essence of what he wanted to nurture in others. When Emily finally arrived, she stepped through the door wearing a bright yet reserved smile. She held Lily by the hand, who eagerly scanned the room like an explorer on an adventure. That moment, Jonathan caught sight of them and felt an overwhelming urge to approach her, to introduce himself without drawing too much attention. "Excuse me," he began softly, stepping close enough so as not to startle her but loud enough for her to hear over the crowd. "I'm sorry if I involved myself too suddenly here, but I really wanted to say hello." Emily turned towards him with wide eyes, recognizing him from his photo on various news platforms, but also evident from his genuine demeanor that seemed even more approachable in person. "Hello? I don't think we've met," she replied cautiously yet curiously. "I'm Jonathan," he said with a warm smile. "I actually came across your letter a while back, and it really moved me." Her expression shifted from surprise to cautious intrigue as she took in his words. "You read my letter?" "Yes," he continued gently. "I wanted you to know that you're not alone and that your dreams matter deeply." Emily glanced down at Lily, considering how personal this moment was becoming as she wrestled internally between excitement and apprehension about sharing such a vulnerable part of herself. Jonathan took another step forward, recognizing her hesitance. "Would you like to grab some coffee together? I'd love the chance to talk if you're open to it." After what felt like an eternity of weighing options in her mind, the potential risks and rewards. Emily nodded slowly, allowing herself to take this unexpected opportunity seriously. "Sure," she replied. "Let's grab that coffee." He offered his arm invitingly as they walked towards the refreshment area, a mixture of nerves and delight swirling between them like magic in the air. This serendipitous connection was just beginning. Little did they know how this meeting would lay down roots for something far greater than either had anticipated, and that cozy corner cafe bursting with laughter from children at play across the room. Both Emily and Jonathan began sharing their stories. A billionaire meeting a single mom, and slowly revealing layers within themselves that could bridge their worlds together more than either had dared dream before this day began. As Jonathan and Emily approached the cozy refreshment area of the community center, a blend of nervous energy and excitement buzzed between them. The atmosphere was lively, filled with the laughter of children and the gentle hum of parents chatting, but in that moment, it felt like they were in their own little world. Jonathan, keenly aware of Emily's apprehension, decided to break the ice. "How about I grab us both some coffee?" he offered, his voice warm and reassuring. "What do you like? Just a regular coffee is fine for me," Emily replied, her heart racing. She watched as he moved through the crowd, effortlessly blending and yet standing out with his confident demeanor. This was a man who could have anything and everything, and yet here he was, choosing to share a moment with her. While Jonathan was away, Emily took a deep breath, trying to calm the whirlwind of emotions stirring within her. A part of her was still hesitant. She had spent so long navigating life alone with Lily that opening up to someone new felt daunting. But another part of her was eager to connect with someone who seemed to genuinely care. When Jonathan returned with 2 steaming cups of coffee, he smiled broadly. "Here you go. I hope I got it right." He handed her a cup, their fingers brushing ever so slightly. That small contact sent a spark of warmth through Emily, and she couldn't help but smile back. "Thank you," she said softly, her eyes meeting his. In that moment, something shifted. She could sense a connection forming, one that transcended words, grounded in understanding and shared experiences. They found a quiet corner of the bustling room where they could talk without interruption. As they settled into their seats, Jonathan leaned slightly forward, his expression open and inviting. "I really wanted to meet you because your letter hit me in a way I didn't expect," he began. "I grew up in a similar situation. My mom worked hard to provide for me, and I felt a lot of what you wrote about." Emily felt herself relax as Jonathan shared snippets of his background. The more he spoke, the more she realized that he wasn't just another wealthy person looking to help from a distance. He understood what it meant to struggle and dream. "I remember how worried my mom was about making ends meet," Jonathan continued. "She always tried to keep the magic alive for me despite our circumstances." His eyes shone with sincerity as he recounted stories from his childhood, little moments that shaped him into the man he was today. As Emily listened, she found herself opening up about her own experiences. "It's tough sometimes," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. "I always worry if I'm doing enough for Lily. I want her to have everything. A loving home, adventures, and opportunities to learn." Jonathan nodded empathetically. "You are doing enough," he replied gently. "The love you give her is priceless, and it's clear from your letter how much you care." There was a long pause as Emily absorbed his words. She had spent so much time doubting herself that hearing someone acknowledge her efforts felt like a warm embrace. For the first time in a while, she felt seen. "Thank you for saying that," Emily finally said, her voice filled with gratitude. "It's nice to know that someone understands what I'm going through." With each passing moment, the connection between them deepened. They began sharing dreams and aspirations, not just for themselves but for their families as well. Jonathan spoke about his desire to create meaningful change in the lives of others through charity work, while Emily shared her hopes for Lily's future, filled with laughter and love. As they talked, laughter erupted from nearby children playing games, filling the air around them with joy. Jonathan couldn't help but smile at the sight. It reminded him of simpler times and fueled the sense of purpose growing within him. He imagined how beautiful it would be for Emily and Lily to experience those moments together. The kind that created lasting memories. After what felt like mere moments but had actually turned into an hour, both Emily and Jonathan realized how comfortable they had become with one another. The initial nerves had faded, replaced by genuine curiosity and interest in each other's lives. "Would it be all right if I reached out again?" Jonathan asked sincerely as they began to wrap up their conversation. "I'd love to learn more about you and see how I can help." Emily hesitated for just a second before nodding slowly. "I'd like that," she replied softly. The idea of continuing this connection excited her, though it also brought a sprinkle of fear of vulnerability, but also hope for something more meaningful as they exchanged contact information and prepared to leave their cozy corner cafe behind. Both felt a sense of anticipation building within them. They had taken the first steps toward forging not just a friendship, but perhaps something even deeper, a bond formed in shared experiences and dreams for brighter tomorrows. Little did they know this was just the beginning of an extraordinary journey that would change both their lives forever. As their relationship began to blossom, Jonathan and Emily found themselves facing a mix of challenges stemming from their different backgrounds. Jonathan's life was characterized by luxury and privilege, while Emily navigated the daily struggles of a single mother, working multiple jobs to provide for her daughter. Despite these differences, both were determined to work through the obstacles together. One afternoon, Jonathan invited Emily and Lily to his home for a casual lunch. He wanted to create an environment where they could bond without the pressures of public scrutiny. As Emily entered his luxurious penthouse, she felt a wave of anxiety wash over her. The opulent surroundings felt foreign and overwhelming, contrasting sharply with her own modest apartment filled with laughter and crayon drawings. "Wow, this place is incredible," Emily said, trying to mask her unease with a smile. She felt self-conscious about her appearance, dressed in jeans and a simple shirt, which were comfortable and practical for her day-to-day life. Jonathan noticed her hesitation as she stepped into his world. "I know it looks fancy," he said with a chuckle, "but I promise I'm just a regular guy who loves to cook. Let's keep it simple." As they settled at the dining table, Jonathan served homemade pasta, excited to share something personal with them. Yet as they ate, Emily couldn't help but feel constrained by the materialistic nature of his lifestyle. Conversations danced awkwardly around topics that highlighted their differences. His global travels, extravagant experiences, and philanthropic ventures contrasted sharply with her struggles around budgeting for groceries and managing time between work and parenthood. "Tell me about some of your favorite places you've visited," she asked hesitantly, wanting to engage with him but feeling out of place. Jonathan launched into stories about exotic locations from Paris to Bali, recounting both the beauty of the sights and the lessons learned from different cultures. His passion was evident as he spoke about how those experiences shaped his views on giving back. But as he shared those tales, Emily felt increasingly distant. The gap between their lives widened with each story he told. "I wish I could take Lily on trips like that," she said softly, gazing down at her plate. "But it's hard enough just getting by." Jonathan caught her change in demeanor and reached out across the table, covering her hand with his. "You're doing an amazing job just being here for her. Those experiences will come in time," he assured her gently. "Family trips don't have to be extravagant. It's about the moments you create together." His words resonated within Emily as she looked up into his eyes. It was comforting knowing that he truly understood the importance of bonding over shared experiences rather than lavish outings. Their connection deepened as they began exchanging ideas about what family meant to them. Yet, challenges still lingered in the background. Ones that wouldn't disappear overnight. As days turned into weeks, there were moments where jealousy reared its head. Jonathan would receive invitations to exclusive events that Emily couldn't attend due to financial constraints or obligations as a parent. He often tried to include her in various charitable activities, but sensed that she sometimes hesitated out of fear of being out of place among affluent circles. One evening, after an event where she felt particularly out of place among sophisticated guests discussing high-profile connections, Emily expressed her concerns during one of their phone calls. "I appreciate you wanting me to be part of your world," she admitted hesitantly. "But I feel like I don't belong there, like I'm just a burden." Jonathan paused before responding, allowing her words to sink in. "It's not about fitting into my world," he reassured her softly. "It's about building our world together, one where our experiences combine and balance each other out." His response struck a chord with Emily. It highlighted their mutual desire for understanding and compromise. She realized their backgrounds didn't have to overshadow their connection but could instead enrich it as they worked through challenges together. As they navigated these complexities over time, sharing candid conversations about finances, parenting challenges, and emotional vulnerabilities, they grew closer and began laying down foundations for trust. Jonathan opened up about fears stemming from his childhood that still lingered despite his success. Emily shared anecdotes highlighting small victories achieving stability in their lives against adversity. They began to celebrate each other's strengths, the way Jonathan encouraged Emily's aspirations for Lily while offering guidance on personal projects and initiatives tied to philanthropy that sparked joy within her heart. Likewise, Emily reminded Jonathan about grounding himself in humble beginnings every now and then, a reminder that wealth did not define one's worth but rather their ability to empathize with others. Through continued discussions around overcoming obstacles rooted in their differing backgrounds, they found common ground. A shared vision for creating meaningful lives built on love, support, and honest communication. Overcoming obstacles together became an essential part of their journey. It forged a bond that was stronger than either had envisioned alone, proving that even amidst challenges rooted in different upbringings, understanding and cooperation could weave together threads into something truly extraordinary. As the weeks turned into months, Jonathan and Emily's relationship began to blossom into something meaningful and heartwarming. They met regularly, sometimes just the two of them, and other times including Lily, who came to adore Jonathan as he expressed genuine interest in her life. Their shared experiences often deepened with each encounter, providing both laughter and learning at every turn point. One sunny Saturday afternoon, Jonathan suggested they go to a local fair. Emily was hesitant at first, unsure if such an outing would be too extravagant or difficult for her as a single mom, but Jonathan insisted it would be fun, a chance to create memories together. "Let's just enjoy the day," he said with a reassuring smile. "I want to get to know you both better." When they arrived at the fair, the vibrant colors and joyful sounds enveloped them. Emily watched as Jonathan effortlessly engaged with Lily, kneeling beside her to examine prize-winning animals and indulge her excitement about various games. The way he interacted with Lily filled Emily's heart with warmth. It was clear that he genuinely cared about both of them. "Look! I want to win that giant teddy bear," Lily exclaimed, pointing at a stuffed animal perched high on a shelf above one of the game booths. Without missing a beat, Jonathan took Lily's hand and led her toward the booth while Emily felt a swell of gratitude wash over her. Jonathan's generosity was not just financial but deeply emotional. As Jonathan tossed rings onto bottles in an attempt to win the teddy bear, Emily couldn't help but laugh at his concentration. "You know," she said teasingly, "you could hire someone to do this for you. Where's the fun in that?" Jonathan replied with a wink. After several tries and many encouraging cheers from Lily, he finally succeeded in landing rings on 3 bottles, winning not only the teddy bear but also Lily's admiration. "See," he grinned as he handed over the prize to a thrilled Lily. Nothing beats good old-fashioned effort. Throughout the afternoon, as they roamed through rides and food stalls, Emily felt something inside her begin to shift. She was allowing herself to be vulnerable around him. Instead of feeling self-conscious about their differences, she found strength in sharing stories from her past. Her struggles with loneliness or anxiety about being a single parent. At one point, while enjoying funnel cakes smothered in powdered sugar, she turned to him and said, "You know what? I never thought I'd be doing something like this again after having Lily. It feels great." Jonathan nodded thoughtfully as he took a sip from his soda. "I get it. Life can become routine sometimes when you're focused on responsibilities," he replied gently. "But those moments spent having fun, those are important too." Their conversations blended seamlessly between playful banter and deeper discussions about dreams for their futures, all interspersed with laughter which rang like music through the fairground. On another occasion, Jonathan invited Emily and Lily over for dinner at his place again, but this time had planned an engaging cooking night as an experience for them all. They crowded into his kitchen wearing matching aprons adorned with silly designs, Lily's featuring unicorns while Johnny donned one, boasting bright red hearts. The atmosphere transformed into a playful haven. While they chopped vegetables for stir-fry together, Emily felt joy welling up inside her. She had not known cooking with someone else could bring so much lightness into her evening routine. A routine that usually consisted of quick meals after work. "Okay?" Jonathan said dramatically as if giving a performance. Next step, we create our culinary masterpiece. He gestured theatrically as they began combining ingredients. They played music in the background while preparing dinner together. Jonathan showcased his cooking skills while Emily experimented alongside him, not taking herself too seriously despite occasional mishaps involving flour clouds or overenthusiastic seasoning. Once dinner was served family-style around the table, with each dish beautifully arranged, Emily marveled at how far they had come since their first awkward meetings filled with hesitance and uncertainty. "Wow! We actually made this?" Lily declared excitedly while holding up her plate in awe. "It looks amazing! You all did such great work," Jonathan praised enthusiastically. That evening was marked by wonderful laughter and storytelling, a testament that although they came from different backgrounds, both were beginning to create their own unique tapestry woven together through growing affection enriched by newfound friendship. As days passed into months filled with sweet moments like these, capturing fleeting glances shared during casual outings or spontaneous late-night phone calls, Emily began recognizing fear slowly ebbing away. She longed for more experiences that brought joy instead of trepidation when she thought of their future together. Jonathan, in return, always made sure every action conveyed deep affection towards both mother and daughter alike, because he understood building this relationship involved not just sharing himself, but also valuing their journey filled with challenges overcome hand in hand along its way. Through sweet moments gathered like petals forming an intricate flower blooming brightly under tender care, their bond strengthened organically over time became apparent. Love blossomed alongside mutual respect, carving out space amid rich histories leading them towards brighter tomorrows, hand in hand walking closer along whatever path awaited ahead, filled with laughter paved within shared desires kindled anew, each step forward taken together toward what seemed promisingly full circle beyond. Imagination ever conceived before destiny unraveled between brave souls meeting once upon letters exchanged long ago. It was a crisp autumn evening, and the world around Jonathan and Emily was painted in warm hues of orange, gold, and red. The sun dipped low on the horizon, casting a gentle glow over the picturesque park where they often spent time together. Tonight, however, felt different. There was an air of excitement that made Jonathan's heart race. He had planned this moment meticulously, wanting it to be special for both Emily and Lily. Earlier in the week, he had contacted the park's management to set up a private picnic area adorned with twinkling fairy lights and soft blankets. The space was secluded yet inviting, perfect for an intimate gathering. A basket filled with Emily's favorite treats sat waiting for them. Fresh fruits, gourmet cheeses, and homemade pastries he had carefully chosen. As they arrived at the park, Emily noticed the enchanting atmosphere instantly. Her eyes sparkled with surprise as she took in the sight of their picnic setup. "Jonathan, this is beautiful," she exclaimed, a smile spreading across her face. "I wanted to do something special for us," he said, his voice warm and sincere. Lily, excited by the twinkling lights and delicious food, darted toward the picnic blanket, her laughter filling the air like music. "Can we eat now?" she asked eagerly, her eyes wide with anticipation. "Absolutely. Let's dig in," Jonathan replied, watching as Emily's face softened with joy at Lily's enthusiasm. They settled onto the blanket together, sharing food and laughter as they reminisced about their favorite moments together. Jonathan loved how easily Emily opened up when surrounded by comfort, the way her laughter bubbled forth freely as they joked about their cooking mishaps or recounted silly stories from their pasts. As the sunlight slowly faded into twilight, Jonathan felt his heart beating faster. He had practiced what he wanted to say countless times, but now found himself caught up in the magic of the moment, feeling a sense of urgency to express his feelings before it slipped away. "Emily," he began gently, turning his gaze toward her as the last rays of sunlight danced across her face. "I've been thinking a lot about us, about this journey we've been on together." She looked up at him, curiosity mingled with warmth in her eyes. "Me too," she replied softly. "I know things haven't always been easy," Jonathan continued, his heart swelling as he spoke. "But every moment I've spent with you and Lily has shown me what truly matters in life: love, connection, and family." Emily's breath caught in her throat as she sensed the seriousness in his tone. She reached out instinctively to take his hand, feeling a rush of emotions surge through her. "I never expected to feel this way," he admitted, his voice steady yet filled with vulnerability. "You've brought so much joy into my life. More than I can express. I admire your strength, your dedication to Lily, and your ability to find happiness even amidst challenges." Tears glistened in Emily's eyes as she listened intently. For so long, she had felt like she was fighting alone. Hearing Jonathan acknowledge her struggles while celebrating her spirit made her heart swell with gratitude. "I want us to build a future together," Jonathan said softly as he reached into his pocket. He pulled out a small velvet box and opened it carefully to reveal a delicate ring nestled inside, a simple yet elegant band that sparkled under the soft glow of the fairy lights. "Emily," he continued, staring deeply into her eyes filled with emotion, "will you marry me? Will you allow me to be part of your life and Lily's life forever?" The world around them seemed to fade away as Emily's heart raced. She felt an overwhelming wave of love wash over her. It was everything she had hoped for yet never dared to dream could happen. "Oh my goodness!" she gasped as tears streamed down her cheeks. Yes, of course." Jonathan slipped the ring onto her finger as joy enveloped them both, and that magical moment beneath the twinkling lights surrounded by fallen leaves and laughter echoing gently through the park. They sealed their commitment not just to each other, but also to building a family rooted in love. Lily cheered excitedly from nearby as she witnessed this beautiful exchange between two people who cared deeply for one another. And at that moment, everything felt perfectly aligned. Dreams fulfilled through connection forged by hardship embraced alongside shared aspirations. They embraced tightly under the beautiful autumn sky filled with stars beginning to twinkle above them like blessings shining down upon their journey ahead. Their hearts intertwined. This proposal marked not just a promise, but also the beginning of an extraordinary new chapter destined for love-filled tomorrows ahead, woven together through laughter shared along every step, taken together hand in hand toward brighter days unfolding before them all. As Emily stood there, her heart racing with a mix of disbelief and joy, she gazed at the sparkling ring on her finger. The reality of Jonathan's proposal washed over her like a wave, and in that moment, everything shifted. She felt as if she were floating through a dream, where all her fears and doubts began to fade away. Did that just happen? She whispered to herself, still trying to process the whirlwind of emotions swirling within her. She glanced at Jonathan, who was watching her intently. His eyes filled with hope and love that it struck her how far they had come since the first day they met. Their journey was nothing short of extraordinary. Overwhelmed by the moment, Emily looked down at the ring, simple yet elegant, and thought about what it represented. Love, commitment, and a hopeful future. She had spent so long worrying about whether she could give Lily a happy life as a single mom, often feeling alone in her struggles. The thought of sharing those burdens with someone who understood not only her heart but also her journey filled her with warmth. "Can I really do this?" she mused quietly. Part of her hesitated, fearing the vulnerability that came with accepting such a profound commitment. What if things didn't go as planned? What if she let Jonathan down? But then another part of her, the part that had fought so hard to build a stable life for herself and Lily, reminded her of the joy Jonathan had brought into their lives. He had stepped into their world not as a savior but as an equal partner who cherished both her and Lily. She thought of the laughter they shared during picnics, the fun moments spent cooking together, and how he made Lily feel special in ways she never imagined someone could. She gazed into Jonathan's eyes. She saw sincerity reflected back at her. He wasn't just proposing out of infatuation. He genuinely wanted to create a family together, a solid foundation built on love and respect. "You make me feel seen," she finally said softly, recalling how Jonathan always encouraged her aspirations and validated her feelings as a mother. "I want to be there for you, both of you," he replied earnestly, his voice steady. "This isn't just about us. It's about building a life we can all share." Emily took a deep breath and considered the future they could create together. An image flashed in her mind. Family vacations filled with adventure, cozy movie nights at home wrapped in blankets, and celebrations filled with love and laughter. It was everything she had ever dreamed of. A life not defined by struggle but enriched by partnership. Tears welled up in her eyes again, but this time they were tears of happiness. She realized that accepting his proposal meant embracing not only the possibility of love but also community and support. A chance for them all to grow together as a family. Yes, she exclaimed suddenly, relief flooding through her as she spoke those words aloud. Yes, I will marry you. Jonathan's face broke into an infectious grin as he stepped forward to pull Emily into his arms tightly. The world around them melted away once more as they embraced under the soft glow of fairy lights illuminating the park. It felt magical. As if fate had conspired to bring them together against all odds, Lily cheered nearby, jumping up and down with excitement while clapping her little hands together. Yay, we're going to be a family. Her innocent joy poured over them like sunshine breaking through clouds. In that moment, Emily felt complete. All the fears that once held her back dissipated like mist in the morning sun. She was ready to accept love, to embrace this new chapter in their lives filled with promise and warmth. With each passing second in Jonathan's embrace surrounded by laughter from Lily, Emily knew this was just the beginning of something beautiful, a journey ahead characterized not only by love but also by understanding and shared dreams woven together through resilience forged from experiences lived alongside one another. As they stood hand in hand beneath twinkling stars beginning to appear in the night sky above them, Emily's heart swelled with gratitude. For every hurdle faced along this path led to this momentous occasion where everything felt perfectly aligned toward brighter tomorrows awaiting ahead filled with endless possibilities shaped through love shared between brave souls embarking together on an extraordinary adventure called life. As Emily and Jonathan stood together under the soft glow of twinkling lights, the journey that had brought them to this moment began to unfold in her mind. Their love story was woven together with threads of hope, resilience, and the beautifully complicated nature of family. A narrative that started with a heartfelt letter and blossomed into something profound. Initially, Emily had felt isolated in her struggles as a single mother, burdened by the weight of worry about providing for Lily while longing for connection and affection. But through the unexpected arrival of Jonathan, who was not just a billionaire but also a man with a kind heart shaped by his own upbringing, she found not only companionship but also a partner who understood her challenges intimately. Their relationship had flourished from a foundation of shared experiences and mutual respect. Whether it was during those cozy evenings spent cooking together or playful afternoons at the local fair, each moment they experienced together strengthened their bond. Jonathan's ability to engage with both Emily and Lily brought light into their lives, showing them what it meant to be a family united by love. With every laugh shared and every challenge faced, they demonstrated that overcoming life's obstacles together could create a deeper understanding between them. Emily learned to embrace vulnerability instead of shying away from it, discovering strength in sharing her fears and dreams with someone who genuinely cared. Meanwhile, Jonathan found fulfillment not merely in his successful career but in being present for Emily and Lily, playing an essential role in their lives. The proposal marked a pivotal moment in their journey, a declaration of love and commitment that symbolized everything they had built together. Thus as Emily accepted Jonathan's ring, she felt as if all her worries melted away. The imminent promises of a bright future filled with joy began to take shape before her eyes. It was no longer just about herself but about creating lasting memories as a family, complete with laughter, adventures, and unconditional support. In the months that followed their engagement, their lives continued to intertwine beautifully. They embraced new routines filled with sweet rituals like weekend picnics, evening games of charades with Lily, and family movie nights that turned into laughter-filled marathons. They traveled together on modest outings that reminded them of the beauty in simplicity, a series of shared experiences that brought them closer while teaching Lily invaluable lessons about love and friendship. They faced challenges too. Planning a wedding while managing busy schedules sometimes sparked minor disagreements. Yet each conversation ended with resolution, fueled by their dedication to understanding one another's perspectives. They proved that navigating life's complexities would ultimately make them stronger as partners, both willing to compromise and adapt for the sake of the family they were creating. Through Emily's eyes, Jonathan became more than just an extraordinary man. He became an integral part of Lily's life too, offering her the kind of encouragement and attention she had long craved. Each achievement celebrated together, from school projects to simple moments like finishing a jigsaw puzzle, built ties that would last a lifetime. When they finally stood hand in hand at their wedding ceremony surrounded by friends and family, it was evident to everyone present that their love was genuine. The vows exchanged echoed their journey thus far, promises to be each other's anchor amid life's storms. to nurture dreams, and to cultivate joy in mundane moments alike as they danced together under the stars after saying, "I do." Emily couldn't shake the feeling of gratitude for every experience that led her here. The struggles that shaped her resilience, the letter that sparked this beautiful journey, and most importantly, the love that now enveloped them like a warm embrace. Now, as they moved forward together into their shared future filled with endless possibilities, the themes of hope and family continued to shine brightly throughout their days. They were no longer just individuals embarking on separate journeys. They were partners committed to walking this path side by side, hand in hand, facing whatever may come next with unwavering strength rooted firmly in love. Their story had become one of transformation, turning dreams once penned in solitude into reality lived joyously as a blended family thriving against all odds with laughter echoing endlessly across horizons unfolding ahead. The promise of tomorrows filled with adventure awaited them. They were ready to embrace it all as one united family forged through resilience and boundless love, nurturing journeys unfolding step by step toward brighter days ahead.